Should I do YouTube vertical? Yeah. I'm not gonna do YouTube vertical. Bum ba da bum bum bum. Glad the alert sounds are working. That's always good to hear. 20, how much was that? 22 months, I said? 24 months? That is an insanely long time. Thank you so much for such a long time of support. 23 months, dude. Insane. Thank you so much. Oh, on your side, you were first? Okay, got it. Maybe next time. Okay, we're good on YouTube and Twitch. Yep. Okay, TikTok. Guys, it has been a while since I've streamed, so I'm trying to like relearn, not relearn, but get familiar with again. Vertical virtual camera, that is okay. Now TikTok start. Okay, I think we're all set up well now. I hope. I don't know. We'll see. Can you guys hear everything okay? Does everything look okay? Make some issues with TikTok. What user cannot go live on TikTok? What the heck? What's up with that? What's up, Braylicious? How's it going? Nice, okay. Well, it's just been a glitch since I haven't streamed in a while on TikTok. Okay, guys, today is an exciting day. I've been working a lot on this game off stream. I've got some things I want to show you, but today on the game, we're going to be working on this city backdrop right here. So we didn't have this before. I'm just going to turn it off. And for the most part, you don't ever see a city backdrop. So like, let me play the game real quick. Let me just hop right in here real quick and see what the backdrop looks like. So for the most part, I've kind of arranged and organized the 3D buildings that you can interact with so that you don't ever see nothing in the background. But there are times like when you're flying and stuff and when you're jumping rooftop to rooftop that you do see some emptiness in the background, like you see back there. That obviously does not look good. That would not fly in any shipped game. So let me actually move myself really quick to the other side of the map. So like right here too, let me jump up here. Once you get to the rooftop area, especially here, so like you're flying and jumping rooftop to rooftop. Whoop. I still need to work out the flying on in the rooftop area. It's kind of glitchy. But see, like in the background, it just looks terrible. It just goes out to nothingness, and obviously that would not fly, and it looks terrible. So it's honestly not the end of the world because it is a mobile game, but I want it to look a lot better than it does now. So what I did was, essentially what I want is I want the city backdrop image just as 2D or just as images, because if I put all the same like 3D buildings that we have here in the background, it's just completely unnecessary performance on the game, and I don't want that. So so where's my city backdrop? So I have been playing around with this city backdrop image. And the way that I'm creating, so like already it adds a lot. So if you like look back here, turn off, turn on, let me move it a bit that way. So like already like that fills in so much of the gaps, so many issues. Obviously still some problems, ignore the flying. Oh gosh. So it fills in a lot of that background and like it's almost perfect. Like look at that back there. So this is without. And this is with, and they don't need to be 3D buildings that far away, especially because this is a side scroller game. They can be flat. So I built that in Blender with geometry nodes, which I'm about to show you guys in a second, which was a lot of fun to build. But so you can kind of see what it looks like back there. Obviously you'll never be able to fly back this far in the game. This is just me kind of in God mode right now. But so this image gets us about, honestly about like 80% there, but there's that last 20% that I'm going to be working today on stream. And essentially what we want to do is we want to separate this image into multiple images so that there's some depth and some parallax there. So we have some more, so all these buildings are background, but some of these buildings will be foreground, some will be middle, and some will be background. So I'm thinking like 3, maybe 4 layers we can separate this into. And then I also want to rearrange it a little bit too. I want to make the tall city buildings go like be more in this area in the city. And then once you're here in the docks, I want to kind of taper it off more to where it's more dock buildings back there. So it's more like that. And I might even duplicate it because I really want to see super distant city in the background when you're in the docks, like right here. Like that would look super sick. So like, let me go in the game real quick one more time. Catch up on chat in a second, guys. Are we getting chats? We got a lot of joiners. Okay, awesome. Cool. So like already look at the background back there. Can you guys see that? Look at the background. Like that just adds so much. Let me turn it off. This guy. Boop. So that's without. And that's with. It just it fills the gaps so nicely. So let me move player over to like 375. So we're in the docks area. This is the very end boss fight scene. So if I have city backdrop off, which is what it was before, super blank, I want to add this one back here. But I can't think, I want to do something like where we taper it off. So like this backdrop. I still want to see, I want to see city back there, but I want it to be super small. Almost like it's really far away. Where is it? Something like that. We might even get rid of the BG dock maybe. Cause like that, yeah, that looks really cool. Seeing the distant city in the background. I think that's nice, but I would want to make it a little bit more prominent. Like maybe add, I definitely want to add lights on the building. So that's another thing we want to do is we want to make the lights stand out with an emissive. Cause right now you can do that with these buildings here. So if I just take the material of this building and I edit if I turn the emission on, it turns on only the windows. Now I'm not the biggest fan of this because it makes all of the windows the same brightness, like they're all on, and that's not very realistic. Now again, this is a mobile game. It would fly, it'd be okay. But so like at nighttime, we want these lights to turn on, right? But I don't want all of them to turn on. So I need to edit it somehow in the 3D building, but we're not worrying about 3D buildings today. We're worrying about the city backdrop. So I'm gonna go into Blender. I'm gonna show you guys what I've created to kind of build out this city backdrop. We're essentially making like a 3D. Oh, we gotta pray real quick, guys. I'm so sorry. We gotta pray. I'm like jumping into it super fast. Let's pray. Lord, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for another opportunity to work on this game and to do what I love. God, I thank you for that blessing, Lord. I thank you so much for everyone here that is on stream and for everyone that might join later. I pray a blessing over them, Lord. I pray that if they don't know you, that they would come to know you as their Savior. If they do know you, Lord, I just pray your blessing over them. And Lord, I just thank you for the stream and this opportunity to stream, Lord. Would you be present here with me? Would you bless and establish the work of my hands today and just help me to work with excellence, Lord? It's in your name I pray. Amen. Okay, let's keep going. Catch up on chat real quick. Scroufy just finished a Spidey sketch. Dude, send it in the Discord. I always love seeing those. Elizabeth, welcome to the stream. As I said before, it's always so good seeing familiar faces, guys. Thanks for being here. Gato, are you going to do that thing that there's a lot of backgrounds that move at individual speeds? Yes, that's parallax. Yep. So parallax is like this area. So it wouldn't work here because I'm in orthographic mode, but I go to perspective. So like if you move from left to right, you see how the foreground buildings, the foreground is the close buildings. They're moving faster essentially. The background buildings are slower. And that's called parallax. You get parallax naturally in real life. And so that's what we're going to be adding here. So look at all these 3D buildings. I don't know how many there are. Statistics, there's 687 buildings. So if I just had all of these as actual buildings in the game as geometry in the background, it would add so much performance overhead to mobile devices and it would drop our frame rate. And it's so unnecessary because the player's never going to go back there. And you see this in every game, in every single game, even modern games running on PlayStation 5 or Xbox or PC. Big open world games that have 3D areas like this, they're still going to use 2D backdrops in the far distant background to fill in gaps and stuff because you're never going to need it to be 3D. A lot of times they'll use extremely low poly 3D geometry, but I didn't want to go in and like take these buildings and edit them and stuff. It would just take so long. So I opted to do a 2D image route. So essentially what I did was I brought a bunch of these 3D buildings that we have from the city into Blender. And then what I did was, so you can see that here, let me move you guys real quick. I'm going to turn off the geometry node builder. I'll turn on all my buildings. There we go. So I just brought in I brought in a lot of the 3D buildings from the city pack that we're using in this game. I brought them into Blender as just individual buildings. So you can see here, boot, building, building, building. Like there's a bunch of buildings here, okay? And I have them all inside a collection called buildings. So I can turn this off now. And then I created a geometry node setup. So I'm actually going to, and this is the power of geometry nodes inside Blender, what you can do with them. So what I did was I wanted to take all of the buildings that we have and I wanted to arrange them in a grid pattern like a city. So if you look at it from the top down, it's kind of like a grid pattern-esque. And I wanted to arrange it based on the height that we already have established in our buildings. So I wanted geometry nodes to know, hey, these skyscrapers are really tall, so the skyscraper big city buildings, they should be in the middle of the city, and the smaller buildings that we have should be on the outskirts, just like a real city. You could do a very simple version where you just have like a grid spawn all of your buildings randomly, but then it wouldn't look like a real city. You would have like a skyscraper out in the suburbs, you would have like a tiny building in the center, and it just wouldn't look right. So what I did was, I'm gonna turn off everything in geometry because I want to show you guys this because it's pretty cool. I want to show you guys what this looks like how I built it all step by step. Okay, so I'm muting all these nodes right now. So you guys can see like how I use geometry nodes to build this whole thing step by step. Whoops, mute. Okay. So first what we do is we start off with a grid. We want to build a grid, and that's the foundation of the entire building. So I'm gonna unmute all this. So here's our grid for our city. So if I turn this off, no wait, I turn delete. So this is what we did. So we just made a grid, okay, with geometry nodes. So this is a grid node. You can set the size on X, the size on Y. And then if I switch to wireframe mode, how many vertices we have on the X and the Y. So I did 30 by 30 and 100 by 100. So that's our grid. But if I just did that, then we would have all of our wait a second. What did I not unmute? Why isn't it showing up? What have I broken? Oh, sorry. Oopsie. That's what I did. I had grid selected, that's why. Okay. So I didn't want buildings to spawn on every single vertex, because essentially, like in a city, you're not going to have a building on every single block. So by deleting some of the geometry, so like this is without deleting any geometry. There's a building on every single block. Actually, let me mute even more. Let's do this. Let's mute. Let's mute. So I really want to take this step by. Whoa. I'll take this step by step so I can show you guys better. I'm gonna leave this on, I think. Yeah. So if I just left this, can I? Yes, I can. Awesome. Oh, cool. That's what I need to do. Yeah. So instead of muting, that's what I'm gonna do. Instead of muting everything, I'm just gonna show you a portion at a time. Makes a lot more sense. So those are all on, all on, all on, all on. Okay. So this is our grid that we start with. But if I put everything on every block, it's not very realistic. So what I did was I deleted some of the geometry of this grid so that a building would essentially only spawn on every vertex that you see here. And then obviously towards the center of the city, we would see some more fullness, and towards the outskirts, we would see some more sparsity. So then after deleting all that geometry, then you start spawning the buildings that we have onto that grid. So that is where we come into right here. So now let me turn wireframe off. I want to also get out of material mode. So now we instance all the buildings onto this grid. So tallest in the middle, shortest to the out. I'll spare you the math. To be perfectly honest, I got a lot of help for this math on this code right here from ChatGPT. Because like I couldn't do that by myself. Like I know exactly what I wanted, so I described it to ChatGPT and it gave me back like what nodes to set up to do what I wanted to do. So we're essentially instancing all the buildings that we have onto the grid that we provided based on the height of each building. So you can see that we have skyscrapers towards the middle and suburb buildings towards the end. And then we add, okay, I don't like how it's not adding, it's not using my material. Can I do? Okay, now it's working. That's weird. Okay. Okay, cool. So here we go. So we instance all of the buildings onto that grid. And you'll see there's some sparsity out in the outskirts, which is what we wanted. And the taller skyscrapers are towards the middle and the smaller buildings are towards the ends. Okay. And then we added some random scale to all the buildings. So like any building that was duplicated, you can see that they're all the exact same height. Obviously don't want that. So we added just some random scaling to move this a little bit. Some random scaling to these buildings. So if I just adjust these values right here, that's adjusting the random min scale and the random max scale of those buildings. So I just dialed it into where I wanted. Let me catch up in chat real quick and then I'll keep going. Is this the game I saw you doing motion capture for? Yes, Chase, it is. It is. Mario Odyssey, yeah, a lot of games do this. Takes a long time. Puppet Plays, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Yes, Lacho, go crazy. I'm making a game. This game in particular is for a client of mine. Let me choose mobile game. Oh, it's a client request. So this is for a client. And so the mobile game. I'll talk to my client. Some viewers have asked if I would release this on PC and or console, and it would be very easy to do that because I'm building this in Unity. All I have to do is port and export for those systems. So it'll be up to the client because my client would obviously be the one marketing and all that stuff. So that's up to him. If he wants to release it there, maybe we could do that. I do like the idea of releasing this on PC and doing the Steam route as well. I think that would be fun. So yeah, let's get back to it. Oh, catch my chat. Thanks for the follow, Sean Ugly, and another follow, Winter, means a lot. It's been 84 years since I know, Elizabeth, it's been a while. It has been a while. We went to the beach for a week, so that was that. I have some really big contracts I'm working on for my visual effects work for my job. I'm working on those for the next like month or so. I've been on those for the past week or two, maybe I want to say. So yeah, a lot of big stuff. Hey, thanks for the follow on Purple, Ian Douglas. Why did I not get a sound alert for that? That was weird. Thank you so much for that. But Elizabeth, how have you been? How have you been in the past 84 years since I've seen you? I think yesterday I checked if you streamed, and I think you streamed. Was it 3 weeks ago? Was it that soon, really? I don't know. Yeah, it has been a while. It's been a few weeks. I think you didn't stream on my birthday. Did I not stream on your birthday? I'm sorry, Gato. I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep going on this and walking through geometry nodes because we got to actually get working on making this better. I just want to finish showing you guys like how I built this. So we added some random scale to these buildings. And then after that, we added some random position. So right now you'll see that everything is perfectly on that grid. Obviously that's not realistic. And then the biggest downside to that is that you would see gaps if you ever look down the edge. And here's the thing, because we're rendering this for to be an image backdrop back here, like you see right here. We have to render it. I'll walk through this real quick from this camera. And I have this camera set to really wide. And this camera actually is in orthographic. I have it set up to be orthographic. Orthographic is pretty much like what you would see if you're looking at a grid or a piece of paper, like no focal length at all, no depth perception at all. Everything is just perfectly flat, like a 2D game essentially. So if I switch this to perspective, which is the default, you'll see that we have a perspective camera now, so you move around and you get all that. Obviously, we don't want that because even if I move this far back like this, we don't want that. We want it to have like a 2D flat anime type look. So I'm switching that back to orthographic, which makes everything flat. So then no matter how you move this, it looks exactly the same. It's an image, right? You don't see any parallax at all. We're still going to be building the parallax into the image separated layers, but we'll get to that in a second. So back to geometry nodes. Where were we at? We were looking at the random scale. And then then I was talking about from this view, you would see some gaps in the city. So we want to add some random position to these things because they're also on a perfect grid, which we don't want. So I added some random position. And essentially what that does here is, first off, we add kind of like a brick-like pattern to the city grid so that some buildings are left, right, and some buildings move to the left and others move to the right in this brick pattern. And up and down too. Yes, up and down too. And then also some random position, just like some jitteriness. Like, let me show you this right here. Oh no, that's the brick pattern, sorry. That's the brick pattern. This one right here is the jitteriness. So if this is 0 and 0, this just gives every building a little bit of random left and right. So let me actually just mute this. So we're not using the brick pattern, and if we just do this, let's add some random variation on both X and Y axes, or X and Z axes, sorry. Just to add some random variation so that when we're viewing this from the front, we can get rid of these gaps. So like some random variation would add like that right there. So it's still a grid, but it's a little bit more of a random grid, so we fill in those gaps. So that's what I did there with that. Just undo all that. And then after that, we add some random rotation in 90-degree increments. So you'll see that every building that is a duplicate has the exact same rotation as its counterpart. So like these two buildings right here. This is the exact same building. These two are the exact same building, and they're rotated exactly the same way. We want to add some random rotation, but we don't just want to add random rotation just on to any degree, because then they'll be rotated like weirdly, and that doesn't happen in real life. They're always rotated in 90-degree increments. So we did that here. So now they're rotated 90-degree increments. I could change the seed of that. Wait, that's not. Oh, sorry, that's not the seed for that. That is here. Oh. So if I change the seed, that's just randomizing what the rotation turns out to be. So you'll see that it's rotating every single building randomly, but only on a 90-degree turn. So that helps reduce redundancy on any building that is a duplicate of another building. So like here is, I think this is the police building we're using. So if we weren't using this, we weren't using this random rotation, every building would be facing the exact same direction. So where is the duplicate? I want to find one. I'm gonna find the police building. Do you guys see one? I guess here's one. This is the one we were talking about before. So that's the same building. And then we add this random rotation. And those two are still rotating the same direction. So if I just change the seed, then it would change their direction there. Boop. So now they're both, it's the same building, but they're facing different directions. All right. Cool. And a lot of this too, like we're not even gonna see because again, it's a backdrop image. They're behind each other, so you won't even see a lot of that. So that is our randomized stuff. And then we start getting into rendering all of this. So if I go into the shader, actually, let me do that real quick, because the shader is interesting as well. Shading. So I'm actually just gonna turn off. Actually, now let's do this. I'm gonna mute that. Mute that. So this is what the buildings come into Blender like directly from Unity. Okay, so this is the base model. All this is doing is using the image, what we have right here. This is the image that's does all of these. Let me actually turn this to, that's a little better. Whoa, yeah. So here's what all the buildings look like, and obviously I could also add some quick contrast so we can see this a little better. Very high contrast. Okay, this is what the buildings look like by default. Now, because these buildings are going to be backdrop stuff, I didn't want to render it like this, because if we just go ahead and render this, boop. Let me show you guys this. This is what we would get. Now, obviously, we would play with the color, make it more contrasty and stuff, but I didn't want to use the full-on color texture for all these buildings. I wanted it to be more faded, more muted, more backdrop-y, more anime-esque, more as just like a filler. We don't want this to be prominent, right? So what I did was, to all of these buildings, they all share the same materials, same textures. I first off just muted the saturation, or brought it to completely to 0. Yeah, so this, if I reset this to 1, this is by default, so I just brought the saturation all the way down to 0. So it's essentially gray. So then when we render this, it's just gray. So we just got a backdrop image, which looks great. We need a little bit more contrast. So what I did was, first I added some random to the value. So the value on this hue saturation node, if you change this value, you're essentially changing the brightness. So 0 is super dark, 2 is super bright, 1 is the default. So what you can do is you can take this object info node and it'll take each random object that this material is assigned to, and you can attach that to a color ramp node, and that will choose a random color between these colors that you've specified, and it will set that to the building object. So if we plug that in here, now you see that we're still using this image, right? Because if I just mute this and we don't use it, we don't get the different colors from the texture. We still get that, but we're muting it. And then we're using this random building color ramp to change the brightness and darkness. So then, instead of this right here, we're going to get that. So now we have some more contrast, some more variation in the darkness and brightness of the buildings, which I think looks really good. It makes for a really good city backdrop. And then this down here, this is for the emission. So if we just set this to 0, that's all lights off, right? And that's how we'll render this. Let me render a different slot real quick. So we'll have this by default, probably for the day, and then as the game transitions from day to night, it will slowly transition these images from here to this version. And I still would like to play around with maybe adding some randomized window light, because right now every single window is lit up and we don't want that. So yeah, let me catch up on chat real quick. Drink some coffee. Discover my grandma. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth, what? Discovered my grandma. Oh my gosh. How old is the sun now? That is insane. That is crazy. Wow. That is crazy. I need to know more. Elizabeth, how old is the sun? Is the sun like your age? Have you guys found the sun? Oh, that's cool, but the windows won't appear in some directions. Gato, what do you mean by that? I guess it doesn't matter that much. The windows won't appear in some... Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that won't matter. That won't matter at all. So you're saying like some of these buildings have a backside with no wind, like this one? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. Because like, look at this image. Like, it's totally fine if some build like this one right here, you don't see anything on it. It's really just like it's kind of like a silhouette backdrop filler image. Like, you don't need to see detail in all these. It's more like a kind of what you see in your peripherals. Like, you just want to see that something's there, but you don't need to be able to make out what it is. Like, your imagination will fill in the gaps. That's all you got to be able to do. So it's cool to see how much attention goes to everything when making a game. Yeah. Crisp, sorry, what's up? Sorry I've been so absent, but thank you for everything you do. Love your stream so very much. Thank you so much, Crisp. That means a lot. You're very, very kind. Starting 54. Wow. So are you gonna try to meet this guy? That is crazy. Like, what do you even do? What do you do? Okay. Hey, thanks for all the follows and shares and likes over on TikTok, guys. It means a lot. Guys, if you have not done so already, please be sure to like the stream. Obviously, you can't do that over on Twitch. If you're on YouTube or TikTok, please be sure to like the stream. It would mean a lot. Okay, so let's get back into this. The shader. So I'm going to switch to this real quick and just unmute this and mute this so we get to our final. That's not right. That's right. And then this. So this was what I had before, where I was using a random, just picking random buildings and then changing their, so if I adjust this, you'll see what the color ramp does, because it's already using a random building that the material is assigned to. And then this color ramp drives what color is assigned to those random buildings. So if I do this, it'll be like mostly black, mostly dark. If I wanted to add like a color in here, I could make this red. And then I need to bring the saturation back, but we don't want that. I don't want red buildings in here, right? I want all of the color of these buildings to be driven by the atmosphere and the color of the sky lighting back here, because that's what makes it look good. See this back here? I want the buildings to mostly be driven by the lighting of the world, so that the building backdrop images look great in daytime or nighttime. And then the only thing that I'm going to be adjusting is the transition of the lights of the windows on the buildings from day to night, from no light to light. So let me go back to Blender. So we don't want the red, obviously. Value. So I was using random building for that. The problem was that then in geometry nodes, what I wanted to do was, I want to be able to, I already talked about this a little bit. I don't want to render this out as just one image, because in Unity, I want this image to be like 3 images. So that we do have some amount of parallax, so that it's not just one flat image all the way across. The problem is though, even though right here, I built this crop section where what I can do here is, I'm just going to delete this viewer node. So here's our final city, but I want to be able to crop it so I render like one section at a time. So with this crop that I built, I can do this. I can adjust this value. And what we can do is, like from the camera view, I can render just this layer, right? And then I can Move this a little bit down some, move this down some, right there, and then render a second image layer. And then move it down a little bit more, down to like the city area, and then render like this section. So then we have like multiple image renders of different depth layers of the city. And then I would just put those into Unity. But as you can probably tell already, the problem with this crop is that as it's cropping the city with geometry nodes, that is regenerating what shading, that is regenerating what this object info node is using for the random building for the random color. So you're seeing that the color changes each time. Now technically that wouldn't be too big of a deal because like it wouldn't be too big of a deal, but I want to make sure that the color for the building stay the same no matter which section of city I'm rendering. So that is why, so what I did was, this was also something I needed help with in ChatGPT, was I changed this back to -51 and 51. So what I did was shading. Instead of using an object info random node to drive the random color, what I did was I used an attribute node, and that is set in the geometry nodes. So in geometry nodes, what I can do is before we crop, so before we do this stuff right here, before cropping the city, we first store a named attribute for every single building. So store named attribute node, and then the name of the attribute is gonna be city tint, and that value is a random value of each index. So each building has each index from random from 0 to 1. So it sounds a little complicated, but that'll make sense in a second. So essentially, before we crop the city to change it, we're first assigning this attribute named city tint, which is just a float value. We're assigning that to each building. Whoa, Chaotic, thanks for reselling for 17 months, dude. That is insane. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. If I had my VTuber setup going right now, I'd launch some fireworks for you guys. Thank you so much. That means a lot. So before cropping, we add this random attribute to every building. So then in the shader editor, in the nodes, let me grab a building. So then instead of object info random, we're using attribute, the city tint value that we set in geometry nodes. Now that value is driving the random color ramp, and now we can plug that into there. Now you'll see it's still random, but look what happens when I edit the geometry nodes when I crop it. So now when I crop it, it's cropping it, but every building is still keeping its same random color value, which is awesome. So now I can render this in layers and it will turn out exactly how I'm expecting it to. So super cool. So that's how everything is built. That's how I've built this city in Blender with geometry nodes and the shader graph. And now we're just going to render it out into multiple layers because I already have, I just rendered out the whole thing as one layer that we have right here. Now we're just gonna make this a little bit better. So let's do that. Let me catch a bunch of that real quick. Ashley's daughter on such. Oh wow, okay. They're only 11 months apart in age. She said she was for her dad's bio dad, and she knew his name. So when she told me what his name was, to my grandfather's. Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta read this again. I gotta process. I matched with his daughter on Ancestry. Okay. She's not only 11 months apart. That's crazy in age. She said she was looking for her dad's. She was looking for her dad's bio dad, and she knew his name. So when she told me what his name was, I knew my grandpa was my grandpa. Got it. Okay. Got to meet both of them last week with my grandma. They're super sweet, and they've been 5 to 20 minutes away our whole life. That is crazy. Oh my gosh. My grandpa was her grandpa. Wow. That is insane. That is crazy. That's like the type of thing you see in a movie or the type of thing you hear about in like this random crazy article. That's crazy. Well, I'm glad they're super nice and that are only they don't. So okay. So now that they're so close, Elizabeth, are you guys gonna try to like? Are you guys gonna try to like? What's the word? Are you gonna try to like meet up and hang out more often, or was it just like a one-time thing where you're like, hey, we met them, they exist, we said hi, and now we're done? Is it that type of thing, or is it more like, hey, we're gonna try to like start meeting up and hanging out and stuff? What are you guys gonna do? Tribe, how's it going? Is this the same game? Yes, it is. Elizabeth lore is complicated to keep up with. I love Elizabeth's lore though, it's so cool. Oh, I see, it's the backdrop. Yes, 100%. Yep, it is. Okay, let's work on this. Let's actually split this out into layers, okay? So, I'm actually going to, before we render this out into layers, I want to grab the player. I want to kind of see what we are looking like in the backdrop. So I'm just going to go ahead and move him up. And I want to make sure, so like, this is as far left as you'll ever go. Backdrop looks good, looks good. You start to see some city. Move down a little bit. I think we probably see the city too soon, because we don't get to city in 3D until right here, and then we go up, and then we're in our city. See, like if I just look at like bird's eye view, like super wide out, right here. 3D cities here, 2D cities here. So I kind of want the whole city to be here. Let's see, that feels like it matches better. But I think the problem with this is that the way that I have this built is the city's in the middle and it's in the perfect middle, right? Which is pretty accurate to a city. But why is it so dark? Did I break something? Geometry nodes, shading, saturation 0, base color. Oh, I have the lights off. That's why it looks that way. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Might need to adjust that a little bit once we render. This is fine for now. Okay. So the way that I have this laid out in the game though, let me turn off this volumetric fog because it is throwing me off. Sky, where's my sky? Sky. I need to be able to see, actually let me just do this. Unlit draw mode. Oh, there's still sky. Let me just do no post-processing. Still there. There we go. That's what I want. Okay. So you see the city, I have like the city in the center and then it fades out from there, right? But in the game, in the 3D, it's more like the city's over towards the right, fades out, and then it's right here at the docks. It's kind of like a big drop off. So I think I need to edit the city to match that, because like if I put the city backdrop right behind the 3D city visually, then when we get to the docks, it's like too much back there. I don't want that. So I need to fade it out more to the right. So what I could do is I could just change where this is spawning from. Where's my geometry nodes? I could go back to the grid. And let's see, this is 0. So if I change this X value, it should move the center. Yeah, it's moving the center over towards the right. There we go. So now view this. So that's a lot better, that feels like. So this is 0. That's everything in the center. If I just move that over. Oh, and look at that. Look at that right there. There's a crane right on the end of that. That's cool. I like that. Some parking. I don't really like that parking. I could change the seed. And that's gonna mess up. I'm not gonna get the crane. Shoot. It's okay. I like that. That's a good look. This feels like a really good look right here. What do you guys think? Yay, nay? Might be a little bit too far right on the city. Let me move back some. Yeah, let's just do 20. Yeah, here we go. And then let's adjust our seed. Maybe we can get a crane over there just for funsies. I could add the crane manually. It's not that big a deal. But if I could just get it. That's a good fade out right there. And there we get a crane there. Nice. Tall city. Yep. I like that look. That looks good. I think that's good. I'm going to render this out and bring it into Unity and see if we like the look. And then if we do like the look, then we'll start separating into layers. What affects the city crop? Camera position? No. So right now it's everything. But in geometry nodes, I have a crop right at the end. So right now it's showing everything, but I can change these values right here. And so that will crop that. So when I do crop and render the layers separately, I'll like render that much, and then I will move these values back a bit, render that much, and then move back some more, render that much. So then we'll have like 3 or 4 image layers, and then I can bring those into Unity. But right now it's just showing everything. So let me go ahead and render this out and see what we look like. Let me just bring this over here so you guys can see it. So here's our render. Oh, that's pretty good. Parking garage, yeah. Don't see really any duplication, which is nice. Yeah, I like that. Let's do that for now. And then image, save as. I'm just gonna use the same one we have here. So I'm just gonna replace this image. So I'm gonna save it as city backdrop. RGBA 8, okay, overwrite. And then I need to graphics. City backdrop, copy. Let me open Unity so we can see update in real time. And go to here. Tooland, assets, images. Okay, I'm gonna paste it in here, paste, replace, and then when I click into Unity, it'll update. Okay, you guys ready for this? Click and update, boop. So now the city's moved over there. I'm just gonna delete this guy for now. Okay, cool. And then let's move this over here. There's still too many buildings behind the docks area, I feel like. Yeah, for sure. Let's just move it a little bit more, because I'm fine seeing the city back there before we get to the city, because it doesn't need to be, the backdrop doesn't need to be perfectly lined up with what we see in 3D. And it's almost better to have it this way, because as you're progressing through the level, if you as the player look in the background, you can kind of see what's coming soon. It's kind of like a visual aid, which I like. So like as you're moving from left to right, you start seeing tall buildings in the background. You're like, oh, there's a city. There's a city in this game. And then you start progressing. You're like, oh, we're up in the rooftops area. Why is that building so white? That's way too. Oh wait, it's because fog. Turn fog back on. Still a little bit too white, probably. I think we'll adjust that in Blender. The problem is though, once we are jumping rooftop to rooftop, we don't see any tall buildings. So like about right there. Let's see from camera view, because that's what really matters. Let's move down a little bit. That's too dark. Yeah. I'll work on that some. Cyanide, what's up? Dude, okay, guys. Cyanide. Cyanide said on the Discord that his birthday was the other day. Well, he said he's older now, so I assumed it was his birthday. So I'm gonna sing happy birthday to you, Cyanide. Now, people don't come to my streams to hear my singing. I'll tell you that right now because I'm not a singer. But I told Cyanide I may or may not sing to him when I stream today. So I'm gonna do it. I'm a man of my word. So you ready, Cyanide? Here's what we will do though. This is gonna be a lot better than my singing. And that is, I need you guys, if you have access to them, I need you guys to put some Flickr emotes in the chat. You can do some dancing, singing ones, and or you can do the party ones. Probably both. The party ones. Those are the best ones since it's Sai's birthday, okay? So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, cringe. Happy birthday, dear Cyanide. Happy birthday to you. Immediately lose all of my viewers. Happy birthday, Cyanide. Congrats. Cyanide, you're getting old now. Are you like 40 now? You're like 40, aren't you? No. I think Cyanide is like, I want to say you're like 21 now? Cyanide, I want to say 21, 22. What was it? Eris, we working on that one game. Was you making the characters for it last time I was in here? Yes, the same game, same game. I'm working on the city backdrop right now. I just walked through the geometry node setup that I built to make this city, and I built the city in Blender so that we can render out images to use as the backdrop in this city. So this guy right here. So I'm currently still working on the placement, like where the skyscraper city center is and where the suburbs are. And then after that, we're going to split it out into like 3 or 4 different image layers. So it's not completely flat in the background. We do still have some parallax and some depth. And then after that, we'll work on making the window lights turn on and off, whether it's daytime or nighttime. So let's keep looking at this right here. Player. I still need to work, like that's like, look at that, white and black. Like I'm not liking that color. We'll adjust that in Blender. Up the city. Yeah, see how the backdrop city is changing based on the lighting of the game, which is exactly what I wanted. I think that's good. Like you can see the city, the buildings in the background. Maybe they need to be a little bit taller, I think maybe. And then you get down to here and you start getting back to base level. Yeah, the backdrop looks pretty good. I don't mind that. Because like before here, where is the city backdrop? Before we had nothing there. So it just looks like that. And I was kind of getting used to that. But I think that's probably better, having it like this. I just wanted to, I wanted to see port. I wanted to see water here by the time we got to this point. So I think what we need to do is, like I said before, I need to split. It's so dark now. Move player back so the lighting changes. I want to split this city image into 2 different sections so that there's a very distant city in the background. And then this one, it's kind of like that. So when you get here and you're at the port, you see a city in the background. Even further than that, I want it super tiny. Kind of like that. That's what I want. That looks sweet. Yeah, that's what I want. Like that looks really cool like that. Even just like that. Let me play this real quick. Am I gonna add fish? No, I'm not gonna add fish. Dude, yeah, that looks, I love that. That looks sick. And then we just have a little bit of emissive window lights back there. Yeah, I think I'm not even gonna have this BG dock area. I was gonna have that, but with that city back there, I like it better without it. That looks a lot better. Yes. At least TikTok now gives you an audio alert when they're about to end your stream because you don't have their software in the foreground of your screen. Gosh darn it, TikTok. Gosh darn it, TikTok. Or say let's have a part. Exactly. Yep. So I love that look. I think it adds a lot. Cause like look at it without it. Okay. We just take this off. Boop. Then it just starts to look like, okay, this is an unfinished game. That's what it looks like. But that, dude, that completes it. And see, all you need back there is an image. You don't need a bunch of actual 3D geometry. I like that. I'm not gonna use this. I'm calling it now. I'm not gonna use this part right here. Because before I was using that BG docked mostly to hide the horizon, right? Because without anything, looks like that. So I was like, okay, let's put a little close like dock here. Look kind of like this. So like here's the player and back here is just kind of like this extra dock area. But having this back here, like negates the need for the dock. And then we can see the horizon better if we just get rid of this. That looks good. That looks good. I like that. So yeah, I like that for the backdrop. We could even just use that image and call it done, but we still got to figure out the other part. Got to figure out. Let me just end it right here. We got to figure out mainly like where the drop off is in the city backdrop image going from city to port. Actually, I think that's it. I think we've done it. Is that right? Does that look right to you guys? Because I moved it over so we could see that distant city. I think that's it. I was wanting to see some water here. Here's the city backdrop. So here's without the backdrop. Well, you don't see water anyway because there's a fence there. I think that feels natural. Does that look right visually to you guys? By the time we get here, oh, I turned that one off. Back on. Boop. So that feels great. I love that. Now let's check the closer city backdrop. That looks good right there. I really like that. I'm mainly just looking for the gap areas. That building is fine. That's city backdrop image. Now let's just go up to when we're up in this area. Okay, so the problem is that this city backdrop here, down there, you guys, let me turn the UI off. Canvas. UI. So this is not at the horizon because I just made it tiny. I just made the city tiny instead of just sending it back. So if I send it back and then scale it back up, we still don't see it because the camera's clipping. So let me just go to the camera, change its far clip plane to 5, maybe more, I guess. 10,000. What is it hitting? Oh, it's hitting it's hitting the 360 environment image. There we go. We'll have to play around with that. I wonder why it's not rendering on the back side of that. We don't want it to anyway, because then we would see clouds in front of it and that would look terrible. So. Yeah, we'll probably need something like that. And then we're just gonna need to expand the water to go all the way back or something like that. Player. Okay, so we're up here on the building. Yeah, we're seeing no city. This is too small. This back here. This needs to be bigger. View from front view. Orthographic. Over. I think we can move up. Need the bottoms to match this. Yep, that looks great. Probably send it further back. We'll add different layers of this image in a little bit, but I just want to get kind of the general positioning of it so that it looks good. Yeah, that's too much city. It's like it's too big. Too close. I'm dragging the player pretty much like in the general area that you're gonna be throughout the game. Yeah, we definitely need to move it over to the right more. Yeah, that looks good. I think we need to drop off the city a little bit faster. So let's go back to Blender. Let's change this even more. Let's go. So instead of 20, let's do... Now we've got the city way far on the right. The center of the city way far on the right. This was before. So initially I had it like in the very middle. That's what we had. Then we did 20, but let's do like... I think that's like that matches better with the city towards the very end of the game. Let's do 40 and then let's change the seed a bit till we find something we like. I kind of want the ends to kind of end with like more of the building style with what we're running into, like that right there. That's good. Maybe not so far off the drop off. Let's do like, no, I think it needs to drop off pretty severely. And I'm actually gonna change, what value is it? This value. I want to adjust the fade. Where's the fade? Create the grid. Sort buildings by size. Nope, it's not that. Actually, yeah, sort buildings by size. No, it's not. It's not that. No, it's not. It's not that. See, this is wait. Crazy. And this building's on grid, tallest, middle, shortest, out. This is what we want. So if I adjust this, not quite what I want. Wait, I am getting those buildings, right? Ever played Geometry Dash? I have not, Gato. I have not. Thanks for the follow, Salmon. It means a lot. Yeah, I will use both, Gato. I'm probably gonna use... I'll use a different city image for the backdrop behind the port versus the one I'm about to use for the main part. Cyanide back connection, can't stay for long. No worries. You know, okay. Thanks, Cyanide means a lot. Hope you had a great birthday. You never answered how old you turned, Cyanide. Did you miss that part of the stream? Did you miss me singing happy birthday? Oh, I missed a lot of messages. Shoot. I'm going back. Elizabeth said we want to. I don't know how frequently, but we'd like to get to know each other better. Awesome. That's really cool. Thought learning I had a sister. Round 2. I know that is crazy. That's a super cool story. I love it. Vibe coded a voxel game and it's actually not bad. I can fly dragon sword attacks. That's awesome. That's really cool. Using a doe, that's really cool. Hope, is this a Lego guy? Yes, I'm the Lego guy. Being able to read TikTok chat from the stream. Okay, that's really good feedback. I've wondered if people ever even look at this on the stream to see the other platforms. What affects the city crop? All right, I already answered that question. How ProMotion graphic designers use 3D software procedural animation. Cool. Somebody do that? Yep. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm not sharing my birthday now. That's hilarious. I sang for Cyanide because it was his birthday. I've never done, well, I've done it a few times where I just sing randomly on stream for birthdays, but for those that don't know the context, Cyanide sent a message on Discord saying that he was older, it was his birthday or whatever, so I said, hey, I'm gonna stream tomorrow. If you pop on the stream, I'll sing happy birthday for you, which I don't usually do because I'm not a singer. I've got a terrible singing voice, and so I just sang to Cyanide. And then Tribe said, yeah, I'm not sharing my birthday now. It's hilarious. You gonna add fish though? No, Gato, I'm not adding a fish. If you reach out to my client and ask my client to add a fish and he tells me to do it, I'll do it. Jalha, what's up? 22? Ooh, I was close. I said 21, 22. I did. Sorry, I have to rewatch. I guess. Oh no, he missed it, dude. I sang to Cyanide. He missed his birthday song. You skip my birthday on purpose? No. Guys, I don't keep track of your birthdays. I'm sorry. But if someone has a birthday at a time that I happen to be streaming, I'll say happy birthday. Okay, I need more coffee. Okay. Whoa. That building should not be intersecting that building. Is that because of my random positioning? It shouldn't be because of the instancing. Let me mute the random positioning. Okay, it was that. Because without the random positioning. So do I have too much? Yes, those buildings are intersecting with each other. I think I just have too much. Let me do -1 and 1, 1. Nope, that's not it at all. That's the randomization. It's this right here. Yeah, it's the brick pattern. So I need to, this is the amount. So if I set this to 0, pretty much just do that so that we don't get any gaps. And we don't have gaps, it looks like, so I don't even need that. Yeah, so that's without any randomized position. There's that. It looks like we're not getting any intersections there. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll keep it at 5. There we go. Okay, so that fixes that. Okay, so we need a little bit more of a drop off to the main city backdrop. So that is in the instancing right here. What were we editing? This right here? Yes. Instance buildings on grid, tallest, middle, shortest out. Yes, yeah, so this right here is clamping the building size. So like if you didn't want a city center and you just wanted small buildings, you do that. We want this to 0, obviously. This adds a random scale. But we're good at there. No, this is the random scale, sorry. Oh, I need that node. No, that's the universal scale. This is the random scale. But I'm good with the random scale we have. I really just want to edit. I'm gonna say that. That's like how many tall buildings you have versus how many short buildings you have. So I want the end to drop off a little differently. What if I move this back? Where is it? If I move it from 40 back to 30? So the city's not so far on the right, and then here I adjust this. No, that's just making him super tall. There's a crane right on the end. I like that. I like that. So then the center of the city is kind of wider. Just this. Whoa, not the seed of that. The seed of the random positioning. Not the grid, not the sort, the instance. Yeah, it is the seed. Why is that happening? It's a lot. I'm off for real. Have a great stream. Thanks. Cyanide means a lot. Minifig, what's up? Minifig Mig, how's it going? Dude, Gato, good luck at the dentist. Have fun, as much fun as you can at the dentist, I guess. Cyanide, what did you send me? What is this? What is this? I completely forgot about this. I don't know if I want to play this or not. I've already cringed myself enough on this stream. But I'll play it because I completely forgot what happens in this. This is a clip that Cyanide made of me 6 years ago. Do you guys want to see this? Okay. Let's look at this. I'm going to pause the music. I don't want the music to echo, so I'm gonna wear my headphones, but you guys will still be able to hear it, pretty sure. Like, I'm gonna hear it separately from you guys, but we'll all hear it. You guys ready for this? Pixel Fire sings Jeopardy, made by Cyanide. 50 views 6 years ago. Oh, look at that. Go sub to Pixel Fire. He's a great YouTube. Oh, sigh. Dude, these were the days. This was back when I was using the OG Pixel Fire VTuber. Okay, you guys ready for this? Gosh, I don't. Maybe I should vet this first before I play it. Here we go. Gosh. Lord help me. Oh, it's super quiet. Hold up. Da da da, la da dee da 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 dee da da dee da 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 dee da 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 da. So obviously, like, you can see what was going on here. This was my stream intro, and I was just in the background just singing Jeopardy for some reason. I have no idea why. Dude, that was a sick transition that I used to use. I need to use that again. Wait, where is it? I don't need to sing again, but I need to use the transition again. Goodness gracious. Okay, now that all my viewers have left, let's get right back into it. Okay. Goodness gracious. Okay. Turn the music back on. Goodness gracious. Okay. You guys didn't see that. Okay. Oh boy. Wipe my tears. Wipe my cringe tears away. Goodness. Whoa. That's a glitch with Elgato Wavelink. You make it a certain size, then you drag it to a different sized monitor, it'll change the size. Software should not do that. You see that? I'm setting it here to what I want it to be. I bring it over to a different monitor, and then I bring it back, and it does that. Terrible. Okay. He's really lying. Oh, dude, that's awesome. I love it, Minifig. That's very great feedback. Yeah, I haven't been live in a while. It's been like 3 weeks since I've streamed. Just now getting back into it. Okay, let's get right back into it, guys. Let's get this city built. So I think this might actually work. What were we just doing? Oh, the random seed, but it's just completely changing. That's a random rotation. I don't care about that random seed. Random position. No, I don't care about that one. Random scale. Yeah, I don't know why the seed is so different for everything except 0. That's super odd. Just because I changed this. No, the seed is in crazy there too. Why is it doing that? I don't know, but yeah, we definitely need more further to the right. Let's do that. So, also, I'm gonna keep it at 40. We just need to make it look good from there. Okay, and then let's find a good seed. I think this actually is a good backdrop. I was wanting a good drop off. I was kind of wanting some smaller buildings here, but that wouldn't really make sense because like right here, oh, right here. Like we drop off from here, going down to here. So the city in the background should kind of look like that too. Going from there to there, like that should work. And then behind that, we see the extra layer that we're gonna have. I've got Jeopardy stuck in my head. Shoot. That's good. None of the tall buildings are changing. Wait, that's the grid we're changing. I don't want to change that. I want to change the instancing. Why is it doing that? I don't understand why I changed the seed. All of a sudden it's massive. That's why I think. No, that's not supposed to be 0. Maybe it is. That's so big. It's not a bad look. Okay, I need to move this down to here. This is insane. I'm gonna set value to, oh wait, hold on. Separate XYZ. Yeah, only on, wait, hold on. No, combine XYZ. Yes, that's what I want. Okay. So these need to be, this is what I want. So this is what we had. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna rename this center of city. Okay, I'm gonna move that down here so I can edit faster. So now we can do this. Doop, just drag that, and then adjust this. Good. Good. Hold on, guys. I got a call real quick. Sorry. Ugh, okay, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that long call. If I had known it was going to take that long, I would not have taken it. I would have just said, call me back later. But we got our, long story short, we got our lawnmower sent to a repair shop, and they just called me saying what the fixes are going to need to be and how much it's going to cost, and it's ridiculous. So they're like essentially $500 to fix the mower, and that's insane. That is not the type of money I was wanting to spend on this lawnmower. So yeah. That's a very short version of this story. But yeah, I will not bore you guys with any more information there. But I just wanted to apologize for how long that took and how long I was muted for. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm going to catch up on chat. Let's see. Lugo, what components do you have in your PC? It is a 13700K CPU, Intel. The GPU is a 3080. I've got 64 gigs of RAM. Lots of storage drives. Way too many fans. 1000 watt PSU. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing crazy. Dalha, what's up? How do I cut stuff in Blender? It depends on what you're wanting to do. Like, how do you cut stuff? Just in edit mode? How do you use geometry nodes? How are you wanting to cut it? Like, what's it for? Do you want it to look cut? Are you just wanting to like make something split in half? Like, you'll have to give me a little bit more context, Valake, for me to know like how to explain to you how to cut stuff. Okay, again, so sorry about that, guys, but let's get right back into it. Let's adjust this city. I don't know why those buildings are getting so tall there. Is it my random scale? As soon as I get away from 0 seed, it just like completely changes. Yeah, I'm going back to what I had before. Seed 0. Don't care about that. Yeah. It's all in here. 235. There we go. That's nice. We're cutting off now for some reason. There we go. That's nice. Okay. Ugh, then I change the seed and it just completely changes the look. Why is that happening? I don't know why that's happening. That does not make sense. Do I need this to be an ID? Whoa. Okay, this is fine. I just need to... I feel like I need... subtracting the domain size. Oh, that's only using buildings a certain size. Yeah. Okay. We don't want to clamp it. I guess I could random seed that. That's fine. Okay. And we need more buildings in the city area. So we actually go back to that where we were. Oh, that's not the color. We want, that's rotation. Where was that? Here it is. Gosh. Actually, I kind of like it a lot taller like that, so I'm gonna do that. Just need to adjust the range. That's what's happening. Yeah. Elizabeth, came back, had to leave for half an hour. No, you didn't. Didn't have to. I had a phone call came up, so I was like on mute for like 10 minutes, so you didn't miss much. This should be fine, but I'm not getting... I think I need to adjust the stagger a little bit so that even if I think it's fine for buildings that intersect because I just need to get them... I need to get more buildings in these gaps, I feel like. So I'm going to do that. That's the brick-like, or is it? That's it. 5. That's much better. Right there. It doesn't look like any poor intersections. There's a few intersections like right there, but like you won't even be able to tell. That's a pretty bad duplicate right there. This looks pretty good though. This is a very good. This is a good city for the most part. Actually, maybe instead of editing that value, I'm gonna edit that value. Do -3, -3, 3, 3, even more, 5, -5. Oh, we got some intersection there. Shoot. Oh no, it just looks like it. Yeah, no intersection. Cool. I actually don't need to randomize the Y because we're looking orthographic. So I'm actually going to keep that at 0 so that we don't intersect there. So if I just keep editing that, we'll have some intersections in the buildings. So I'm going to leave that at 0. We're only worried about the X. Changing the randomized seed. Still want to adjust that seed of this one. It's pretty good. I also wanted to adjust so like when the player is for here daytime, I want to adjust the look of those back buildings. It's there's too dark and too bright. So I need to adjust the shader to be not so contrasty. Could do that. I still just don't want to go to perfect black. So let me just change this to, actually instead of changing the colors here, let me just add a brightness contrast node, put that there, and just change the overall. Oh, nope, that didn't do what I thought it would do. Do that, but that's going to affect the whites as well. Well, not really. Less contrast, let's do that. -0.1. Yeah. So without, with. That's good. Yeah. .6. Still want to bring the white brightness down. So I will just take that and do like that, and then maybe less contrast. Yeah, let's do that. Let's mute the emission. Hold up. Yeah, because this is daytime. Actually, let's go ahead and build that. Let's go ahead and separate the emission. Or no, hold on. I gotta think about how to do this. The emission needs to be rendered out separately. So if I just do this, let's go ahead and render this. Well, first I need to get, we need to get our everything situated into what the look is going to be. So let's go ahead and render this out. See if we like the look. Image, save as, city backdrop, overwrite, go to Unity. Copy it over. Replace. Check it out here. Boom. There it is. Obviously needs to be moved over. A little tall. Turn fog off again. Feels like a good scale. 850. X. We want the end of the city to be about right. I don't like those buildings right there on the end. They're just eh. Let's try that. See what that feels like. Feels really big. Yeah, too much city back there. In this part. Yeah, I need a separate city for that back part. What's up? How's it going? Packer Rose people, I love your videos. They're good ones. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Which videos do you like exactly? Do you mean like the Lego VTuber ones or the Blender tutorial, visual effects, game design, IRL type stuff? The game is not in New York City. No, this is in. I mean, it's you can see it as New York City, but it's actually a city called Tuland, Tuland, and that's actually the name of the city in the lore of this world, this Tuland world. So I'm sure it's like it's modeled after New York City to kind of have like a similar feel, but I mean like pretty much it's basically the big city in every major superhero movie. So think Gotham in the Batman movies, or I guess New York City in real life. I love this water so much. I love how it looks. It looks so cool. Random. Guys, it is 1 o'clock. I need to eat lunch. I don't want to end stream though. I want to keep working. Shoot. Wait, can you explain that again? What exactly, David? Can I explain what again? I'm relaxed. That's good. Why is that building, that backdrop showing up in front of there? Do you guys see that? Look at that. Oh my. That's not good. City backdrop. That is super weird. I mean, I can easily fix it by giving it its own material, which I'll have to do anyway because they're going to be using separate textures, so I might as well just go ahead and do that. City backdrop. Let's do close. Or no, let's actually do city backdrop main and then city backdrop port. And then this one back here will be the port. So port will use port. And then I just need to change the port material to sorting priority lower. Yep. I'm just gonna make this one higher so I don't interfere with the sky, because I know the sky is at 0. Sky 0. Yeah. So we're gonna do the port to be 1. And then the main to be 2. There, okay, that fixes that. Cool. Okay. I want to go ahead and see, like right now, we have no lights on these, which works great during the day. Go back to 0. Yeah. I feel like I still want some more contrast. I feel like it's not enough contrast. I'm not sure though. Then we need an emissive, and the emissive is going to be a separate texture. what we need to do is we need to render, not just with this on, but we would need to render only that. So what we could do is, for emissive, just completely tint the base color to black. Yep, that's exactly what we gotta do. So I'm just going to do this, Shift A, color, mix color, boop, and that's going to mix with black. We're gonna do overlay, perfect. So 0 is not using it at all. When we want to render the emissive layer, we'll just set that to 1. And that's essentially just like setting this to black. Right? Yep. Okay. And then we just need to make sure that we render that with no alpha. Well, it doesn't matter if we render alpha or not, but it just takes up unnecessary space. The problem is, like, if I info this, I sample RGB A. Yeah, it's not fully black, which is not good. And that's not fully white either. So what we can do is also do a contrast to here. Oh wait, hold on, why is that doing that? Contrast isn't adding anything? Because of the color? Okay, hold up guys. None. Yeah, so if I just render that, come on, render that. It's not quite what I want. I want black and white. So for emissive, let's see. Could change this to 0. There we go. So no world, essentially. No world. Crazy emissive. Or I could just do the contrast. Nope, that does not work. So we're gonna get rid of that. Just gonna do a ton of emissive. 1,000 so we get to white. And then when we render this, now we're perfectly black and white. Let's info this, sample. Okay, now we're good. Now we're at, so if you look at down here, we're at RGB 0 and RGB 1. Perfect. So that's our emissive. Hope I'm not blowing it out though by, and our camera has no depth of field, right? Shouldn't it? Okay, good. Hope I'm not blowing it out by doing strength 1,000. What if I set it to 100? Render in a different slot. Then compare the results. Yeah, I am blowing it out, actually. That's not good. Yeah, so if I just set it to 1, that'll probably be too gray. Black, yep. White, yeah, 0.95, barely. So let's do strength 2, and that should not blow out anything. Why does it keep going over there? Stop. Black. RGB point. Wait. Display versus. What we're rendering as. Post processing. No compositor, no sequencer. You're thinking about the buildings or something. What about the buildings? Are you making your own game? Yes, I'm working on this game for a client of mine. We're planning a trip to New York City, so I guess just my. Okay, cool. That's awesome. What are you gonna do in New York City? What you going to do? Let's see. This should be fine. I'm just gonna render like this. Yeah. So here's our render. Render one more time. This is going to be our emissive. So I'm gonna image, save as city backdrop, main emissive. I'll just do black and white because we don't need the background. Save as image. And then, let's see. We're gonna copy it. So I'm gonna rename this city backdrop main diffuse. Okay. Copy, paste, delete city backdrop. Actually, not gonna do that yet. I'm going to go to the city backdrop, main, material, the base map. I just want to make sure I copy the settings first. Alpha's transparency. And copy that. Those need to be right there. Apply. Okay, and then the emissive does not have transparency because we don't need it. Perfect. So now I can delete city backdrop. Actually, not delete it yet. First, let's just change the material. Main diffuse. Perfect. And then we can add the emissive map to right. Let's check it first. And then emissive map to there. Boom. Now I should be able to adjust this value and turn the lights on. Value, there we go. Okay, so 0 or dang. So you can set to 0. There we go. So that'll be for at night. Let's move the player to nighttime. And there's a problem, we can't even see it. We see it here. But when the fog is on, you can't even see it. There it is. Okay. So it just needs to be really bright to be able to see it with the fog. Whoa, what's happening here? my fake volumetric lights causing issues with their shaders? That would be no good. This guy, turn it off. Yeah, why is that happening? Sorting priority. There we go. Okay. That's why. Okay. I actually need to change something. I need to go back and change the skies. So the main, instead of 2 and 1, I'm going to set this to, the port will be actually main will be 1. Yep. And then the port will be 0. And then the sky will be -1. That will fix everything. Perfect. Okay. Now the lights are fixed. Beautiful. I think the city backdrop image is good back there. That little bridge thing right there, that's just a crane, but it looks like a bridge between two buildings. I don't mind it. Definitely need some parallax, so we'll split the image into a few different layers. But like by the time we get to here, I don't want to see those city buildings. It's like, it's too much. Still need to adjust that, go back to what we had before. Thanks for the follower, or for the follow, Enforcer. Means a lot. Being able to spot all the issues is something I could never do. That's interesting. You could do that. Like, you know what looks right or wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's too much building right there. You move the player left. Yeah, so then at daytime, the emissive value needs to go away. Like so. Yep. I'll just have to code that transition in. Yeah, it's like too much city back here, I think. Yeah, I'm just gonna need to keep dialing this in. Bunnies, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Guys, I think I'm gonna call it a stream. It is 1:24 p.m. and I've not eaten lunch yet, so I need to go eat lunch and then just get back to it. So I've showed you guys how I built this with Blender geometry nodes. It was a pretty cool, fun setup. Where's geometry nodes? Boop. It was a lot right here. But it turned out well building the city. So now essentially all I've got to do is just render this out into a few different images so we have a little bit of parallax in the layers, and then put that in here so we have some more depth. I was hoping to do that on stream today, but we weren't able to get to it. No, start. Yes, master. Yes. So yeah, I'm gonna eat lunch, and I don't think I'm gonna start streaming again after lunch. Maybe I'll put a pause on this, start streaming again tomorrow, and then do the layers. So I'd really like to do that on stream. So yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me today. I had a blast. You guys are the best. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please don't ever call me that again. Okay. Bye, guys.